A beautiful summer sunset. It's not quite summer yet. It's still technically late spring. I think it's June 6th. Summer is about June 21st. Somewhere right around there. And it feels like summer. A nice summer day. Nice breeze. The sun is almost to the longest day of the year. First day of summer is the summer solstice. That's the longest day of the year, the day with the most sunlight in the northern hemisphere. We're almost there. But school's out for most of the kids. I think this week is the last day of school here, and for a lot of places they're already out of school. College kids, they're starting to show up. They're out of school, they're coming here to spend their summers and work. The fish, the mullets are around. There they are. Nope, there's one right there. The ospreys have been around. Summer vegetation. Everything's all nice and green. We've had plenty of rain. So we never know what every summer's going to bring. The summers are kind of the same. We think about them as being, you know, sort of the same, and to a large extent they are. But every summer and every season of every year, it's always a little bit different. Is this going to be the year that we have big storms, or is this going to be the year that we have a lot of rain, or is this going to be the year that's super dry, or the year that's super hot? I was just looking at some North Carolina climate records, and out here on the Outer Banks, we get high heat indexes because it can be humid, but we never really get those super blazing hot temperatures that they can get in the middle of the state. And I remember when I was a little kid, actually we had some extreme weather during the early 80s. We had also the record snowfalls for the state, and we also had the record hottest temperatures in the summer during the early 80s. But I remember we were going out to the mountains to see Artist Grammy's side of the family, like Paul and Ma. And I can remember going out there and being so hot on that trip, and talking to people about it being over 100 degrees. And in North Carolina, because we do have humidity, even on those hot days, what happens when that hot weather hits here is we basically get like a high pressure system like they get in the western part of the United States, and it's probably a little bit drier than the typical North Carolina weather, so it sort of balances out. But yeah, they were getting temperatures for like weeks at a time in the 100 plus temperatures during the daytime out in the middle part of the state. And that's hot for North Carolina because of the humidity, although it probably wasn't real high humidity if we were getting those kinds of temperatures. Basically, we get high pressure, a super clear high pressure system comes in, like they get in the desert or something like that, and it heats up. But I think I was reading that the all-time record high temperature for North Carolina, I believe it was 110 degrees. And there was many other occasions where the temperature got close to that. It was a really hot spell at some point back in the 60s, and then I think in the 50s, and then the 70s were kind of cooler, And then in the early 80s, they had a real hot spell, and then some hot spells around 2010, 2011, something like that. So that was the records. That was just the records that have been taken. I'm not sure how accurate the records were if you went further back, but anyhow, so we never know. Every year is a little bit different, but I know I've spent many hour running around as a little kid up here, and then coming back and living here, and this little spot right here on the north end of this island is it's just sort of a record of the years in my mind, because I guess it's just a peaceful spot, and the way the wind comes off the water from either the northeast, or you even get a little bit of the southwest wind if you're standing here. Not much of it, but you get a little bit of it, and because we're out around the point, and the sun, and it's the sun kind of just shines through here. You're really exposed to the weather up here on the north end of the island, whatever it is. I can just remember riding my bike up here as a little kid. And not a whole lot different than it is now. It's just more people come here because they've opened it up more and tried to promote it more as a place to come to the beach. Whereas when I was young, nobody came down here other than us. Just the kids and a few local people would come along. And the erosion has taken away some of the beach down there. You used to be able to more often, and we do still on low tides, you can still walk on the beach down past those rocks, but when I was a kid, more often than not, you could kind of walk along down there too. It's still shallow. But, yeah. The weather really adds a lot to our memories. We associate a lot with weather. It's not just something to take for granted. So much of life is connected to how we remember things. It's so much connected to the environment that we're in at the time, which includes the weather. And in movies and in books, and in art and paintings, the weather is used to create emotion and to create moods. Even though a lot of times, for example, rain doesn't always have to feel sad. A lot of the times the rain is a very happy feeling, actually, but you can do it as a dark and gloomy kind of rain, and it sort of has a calming effect, if not sort of a sad effect. Whereas, of course, there's many times that the rain is just fun. But the hot heat, a lot of times is associated with exhaustion, because we feel our bodies have to really work hard to keep ourselves from having heat stroke when it's really hot out, or from over exhausting. So our bodies sort of have a way to slow down, and it kind of wants to make us want to sit down and not do anything. The cold is sort of associated with fear, because our bodies kind of know that if things get too cold, it can be dangerous. There's the osprey talking to us. There's the ospreys. They are magnificent fishing creatures. There it goes right there. They have a very high success rate when they go to catch a fish. They get their fish it's a very high percentage of the time. I can't remember what it is, but it's right at the top of success for predator animals. They're really good at fishing. All around the world, the osprey is one of the few animals that live pretty much all around the world, other than in the very most cold climates. There's some subspecies of osprey, but it's basically considered the same kind of osprey that lives. They look a little bit different, but they're the same species that live all over the world. And when summer comes, A lot of them are migratory, like here they migrate down to the warmer latitudes for a few months out of the year before they come back here. And so when they come back, it's sort of a sign, you know, that everybody gets to hear all up and down the East Coast and the West Coast and in Canada and everywhere that the ospreys are back. Well, the sun's going down. I guess I'll start walking back to my truck. I love you.